This will probably be the first and last time I ever make a video like this, so pay attention because it's probably not going to happen again. Now, the reason I'm making this video is because a lot of people have asked me, like, what am I actually experiencing? What is my experience? So that they can kind of reference to it and understand it. And I do see some value in that. I do see giving some clarity around what the experience of peace and happiness and unconditional happiness actually is, because that's something that I always wanted to understand too. And the more I understood about it, very briefly from glimpses of what teachers would reveal, give me a very much understanding and relatable quality to myself. So what I'm going to do here is provide you as much clarity as I can about how I experience day to day, so that you can understand even what I mean by how I experience day to day. None of this, there's just a happening, there's just an occurrence, then there's a occurrence happening, and things are just appearing, and there's appearances, and I'm not there, and there's no one there, and this is all just complete and utter nonsense. Let me clarify a few things. People sometimes ask me, like, who am I? Almost like some kind of like trick question. They're trying to catch me out or something. When I refer to I, we have to understand that what we all essentially are is God, basically. The R-rated version of it is that it's God. The PG-rated version is that we're pure consciousness, and that consciousness is intelligence. It's just innate with creative intelligence. We are an infinite fractal of pure creativity. Think about creativity, we think like, oh, if I put sticks and stones together, I can make this, or if I paint this, I make this. This level of creativity is quite literally something coming out of nothing. It is pure existence itself. So when I say I, in general day parlance, I'm referring to that which is ultimately real, namely reality itself, which is appropriately and intelligently currently identifying with this body-mind. Distinction to make is that there is no individual finite self that has a reality. The reality of the individual finite self comes from infinite reality itself, which is not finite, an infinite reality, which is the source of all realities. When we're talking about reality, what we're basically saying, that which is not limited to anything. So I, being the absolute nature of myself, that is not limited to anything, that is currently intelligently identifying with this body mind. People think identification, oh my God, that's not what you're supposed to be doing, man. You over-identified. No. Identification is a natural consequence. That is an intelligent consequence. The only issue is when we believe we are that with which we identify. So if I identify with the body and I think I am the body, then I'm going to give super importance, basically super importance is like the highest importance to the body and the mind as having a real existence, which means that when it disappears, I disappear. So that's when we suffer the consequences of the body. It's an intelligent understanding to be capable of identifying with the body and the mind, so that I put food in my mouth at the dinner table and not somebody else's mouth, while also being completely free from the body and the mind. So it's pretty much the same as watching a movie and enjoying it, knowing you are not the main character in that movie. You're not the movie itself. So if fires are burning in the movie, there's fighting in the movie, you can enjoy the thrill, but you're not actually in that movie suffering the consequences of the characters, right? It's the same with this. So what I'll tell you on an ultimate level is that the priority is happiness. So if people are telling you like, yeah, this is my experience, there's no one there and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there's no individual there. That's absolutely true. There's no individual that you can actually find. But what gives light to the individuality is the infinite. So the infinite is a sense of being an individual is like the shadow of the fact that we are infinite and not two. So the infinite fact that there is only one thing, which obviously is still putting some limitation, but we're just using clumsy language here. The fact that there is only one thing, the sense of being an individual is the finite expression of that. And we have infinite of those finite individual expressions. That is the expression of absolute infinity. It's infinitesimal, it's refracting. On a level of perception, I can experience that there are objects. I'm never going to deny that. I experience that there are appearances of things like a bag, a water bottle, which I should probably put in the bag before the sun turns that into a biochemical weapon. What I'll be doing is knowing the reality while I'm experiencing it. Just because I can see there's a distance between this head and that camera, it doesn't mean that I feel like I am in the head looking out into an external world that sees a camera, you see? Just like when you watch a movie, or when you're watching this video right now, you can identify the difference between my body and the background, but actually there's no distance between my body and the background. Like if you were to touch the screen, they're at a zero distance from each other. There's no separation there. But you know that you can easily, like, you can create that experience for yourself. Like when you're watching the video, you can see the difference between my body and the background. You do that with intelligence. You don't do that out of like, oh my God, I just made a fundamental mistake here. I actually thought for a minute that I saw, no, you actually can intelligently see from that point of view. You can intelligently see there's a difference between this body and the background, even though there's actually not. If you were to actually zoom in on the screen right now, you're seeing 3 colors no matter where you look: red, blue, and green. There's no difference between any part of this image if you actually look into it. Likewise, I can see from the point of view, there's a distance between this head and the camera, but I don't think I'm in the head. I don't experience as though I'm in the head. You see? My point of view is basically being. There is only being in experience. Why? Because we usually think that I am, and I am is like I am, that's the source of existence, and that the world is, right? So I am and that is. The isness of the world and the amness of being, we usually don't go there. We usually just stay at the point where I am, and we go to meditation and being and I am being. But to me, there is no localization for where I am. So the fact that I am and that is. Now I want you to just prioritize for a minute the existence-ness of the world. Does the world exist? Yes, something exists, even if I don't know what the world is, right? Well, the fact that it is the same as the fact that I am. The isness and the amness, they're the same. There's no isness and amness. I'm not an inside-outside world being, you see? So when I experience the world, when you sit there in your meditation, you try and focus on the I am or the I, and you try to go inward. For me, there's no inward or outward. I can't even say the whole experience, because that would imply that there's parts of experience where there's an I am there and a this there. And no, the entirety of experience is. It's isness. It's amness. There's no in, I am, and that is. They are the same existence. They're the same being. So that's what we call God. That's what we call God. When I perceive the world, it is as though God is dressing up in clothes, just God in drag. You know, when I look at this shoe, this slipper, it's like God in a slipper theme. It's hard to explain, but you must have had this experience before, maybe on psychedelics or something, where the world is like animated. Like when you look at a cartoon, you see a cartoon as an animated expression of the real thing. This is the way that I see the world. It's always, the thing is, it's always been that way. You can see that now. It's not a special state. I'm not in some kind of special state. God forbid you think I'm in some kind of special state, right? I'm not in a special state. And the point of this video is not to claim that I'm in a different state from you, that I'm in some exotic experience and you're not. The whole point of this video is just to see how freaking normal this is. So the next point that I wanted to make is that there's no fear of death. Once you see that what you are, the existence of yourself, the sense that you exist, and the sense that the world exists. So like if you were to ask the question, do you exist? Right? You would say yes, because you know there is an existence of something, even if you don't know what it is. If someone asked you, does the world exist? You would say, yes, it does exist, but I don't know what its existence is. Well, what I'm saying is that the isness and amness are the same. Therefore, that's the recognition that I am infinite, basically, that reality is infinite. But if there's only one substance, well, everything is the same thing. And if everything's the same thing, then what would be that thing? That would be God. You see? Now, you don't have to use that word. If that word has been bastardized in your mind through God knows what religious tradition, you don't have to use it. But the reality is, it is God. So I recommend reconditioning that belief, because reality is God. You are God. I am God. There is no difference between what we essentially are. It's all God. Godding itself into existence and being God. That's it. This means there's no fear of death. I went through a long, horrendous process of this fear of death, this genuine psychotic belief that everything was going to kill me. I have more stories on this. You can check that out on the channel. Every video related to fear. But there's no more fear of death. An example would be the existential fear that we will someday disappear, or fear in general. So when people say like, oh no, some people may be watching this now thinking, yeah, I don't fear death either, actually. But I do fear, though, my dog dying, my cat dying, my children dying, my God knows what dying. I do fear failure. I do fear, and you'll say all these other fears. The question is not whether you fear death or not. You just don't realize what fear actually is. Basically, fear is the belief that I can somehow fundamentally stop existing. So when we say that I don't fear death, but I fear X, Y, and Z, which I guarantee that you will. There's no chance that you're watching this video right now, if you've even clicked this video, because you wouldn't have clicked it if you were experiencing what I'm experiencing, so therefore this can't be true for you. If you have any provisional fear, if you think you don't fear death, but you fear something else, which I guarantee you do to some degree, and if you don't, why are you even watching this video? Go have fun and live life and be happy. Then what you're basically saying is that in that fear, whatever that preliminary fear is something inherent to you. You believe something in that fear that is to do with that fear is inherent to you. Hey. So in that belief, what we're basically saying is that something inherent to me is that sacrifice, which is why people often fear their kids dying, their pets dying, or someone close to them dying, because we identify, there's parts of us that subconsciously identify something inherent to us with that thing. And oftentimes that thing is happiness. Sometimes because happiness actually is inherent to us, so we fear anything that can seem to take our happiness away. Because happiness is actually inherent to us, it is actually what we are, we fear anything that can destroy that happiness, that can seem to take that away from us. So we will then fear big losses and big things in life that we have conditioned ourselves to believe happiness exists inside. So that's the next thing, is that I don't experience a restriction on my happiness, which means nothing can make me happy and nothing can make me unhappy. So if nothing can make you happy, then obviously nothing can make you unhappy, right? To that same degree. And this is unconditional happiness, causeless happiness that emulates as a natural expression of our true nature when it is left unrestricted by resistance. So think of resistance like a cloud, and happiness is like a light that shines through the mind. Just think of our being as like the sun, the light of awareness, the light of God shines through the body, shines through the mind, into the body, and into the world. If we resist experience, we put a veneer over that light. So the light still shines, but it doesn't shine into the body and into the mind, because there's resistance there. So when there's no light of happiness shining into the body, metaphorically speaking, we think, oh, there is no happiness. Because when the happiness goes into the body and into the mind, there's an excitation. And the excitation is basically some kind of physiological state. So when you think of happiness, what most people come to terms with is happiness is a feeling or a state of mind or something that physiologically changes in my experience that I like. Now the question is that really happiness? Because if it was, what would be the qualifying factor to bring about that emotion? You see, we must be happy prior to the emotion arising, otherwise the emotion could not arise. So there must be something that takes place prior to the emotion happening, which is actually happiness, that isn't the emotion or the feeling itself. So my experience is that there is nothing that makes me unhappy. Now, does that mean that nothing makes me sad? Absolutely not. My best friend died the other day, 2 years ago, and now my sister's terminally ill with cancer. Does that make me sad? Abso-fucking-lutely. Why would it not make me sad? The only thing is that I do not resist the sadness. I will wobble all day. I will be sad for the rest of my life if I need to. I do not give a flying shit about sadness, you see? I have no resistance to it. I just do not care. It has no effect on me. I can experience this sadness without actually being overwhelmed with the actual problem, which is resistance. Now, when we resist sadness, that's when we suffer. Suffering is the resistance to natural human conditions. And sadness and grief are natural, even fear and anger are natural human conditions. Anything you can experience in a good movie is basically a natural human condition. This is why an unnatural human condition, which is something that will disappear, is blame, shame, guilt, resentment, hatred, things like that. So when we have grief, for example, if I resisted the grief of my best friend, I would have suffered. But I didn't resist the grief. There was no blame, no shame, no guilt, no resentment, no regret, no hatred. There was just absolute love. You must have had those experiences where you're crying and you don't even know, like, if you're happy or sad, you're just in tears. There's no source. There's no like resistance to it. You could be crying, you could be laughing, you don't know the difference. That is an example of what happens all the time in people's lives, of genuine grief and sadness that has no resistance. So it's just a pure neutral emotion, an outpouring of love or an outpouring of energy. So the next thing to mention is that I see everything as real. Everything is reality. So coming back to my earlier point, most people say the world is an illusion, it's a dream state. No, no, no. This ain't a dream to me. You think I'm living in a dream? That would be the most ridiculous way to see the world ever. What does it even mean if it's a dream? Just think about this for a moment. nothing's taking place, it's just happening. How reductive does this actually sound? How reductive, reducive, and almost bypassing of love does that actually sound when you hear that? It isn't just a dream. It's not just an illusion. This is reality you're experiencing. Everything is real. I treat everything and I give everything the respect as being real, as having reality. The difference is I just don't believe that the bottle is reality and has actual reality. When I look at an apple, there is existence in the apple. The apple has existence inside it. Obviously, that's not true. When I look at an apple, the existence that I know of the apple is reality. It's infinite being. I don't actually claim to see an apple. I say that for practical purposes. When I see anything, there is just reality. It's real. And I treat it as real. We're just one, man, and I'm one with the universe, and so are you, so we're just the same consciousness. Yes, on one level, that's true, but we should still give other minds the respect of being individual. That's what we want. We don't just want to see everyone as the exact same consciousness and that's it, no more, full stop. What would be the point in even talking to them? It doesn't make any sense, is what I'm trying to say. And we don't want that. We want to be capable of knowing that our true nature is not even the same. When people say we share the same consciousness, even that is not really true. Because sameness means something in the same dimension is shared and it is the same. If we share the same bottle of water, what we're implying is that it exists in relativity and we share the exact same thing. You can't share the same being because the beingness doesn't exist in the dimension you can share things, you see? So you can't even share the same being. Even that is such a limitation on what's actually being experienced. You can't share something that isn't in the same dimension as a possibility of being shared. So how could you share that? What we need to see is, like, some people say we share the same being and they feel a little bit, uncomfortable with that. No, we should be very comfortable with that because we don't actually share the same being. We are the same being. And because there are infinite different points of view, it is as though we do have our own being. So the bonus points, if we realize this is true freedom. We are absolutely sharing the same being as all beings, but we're also not. And this sounds contradictory. And some people are going to go, this guy's talking out of his ass. Just trust what I'm saying. I don't even need to be right to know that I'm unconditionally happy. So if you're not experiencing unconditional happiness, does it not make sense to take on some of these ideas? Does it not make sense to think, well, clearly whatever I've been thinking about reality is a load of absolute nonsense. So why don't I try taking on somebody else's nonsense for a change? Why don't I just try listening? Like, you don't have to trust me. Me as reality knows, you as reality can feel my energy. I know that clear as day. So I don't need to hand you out a CV of how happy I am for you to know exactly where I'm talking from. So my question to you is, why not take on ideas that sound a bit like nonsense, but are a little less nonsensical than what we've currently been believing? Because what we've currently been thinking is true is clearly not working. Let's just put that out there on the table. Right, now we've got that out the way. The last point that I have is that I am devoted to the truth. So this is what I live day to day. I am devoted to the truth. There is not one bone in my body that turns away from the truth. And if it does, because I'm so devoted to the truth, I am going straight to that bone like a motherfucking infinite chiropractor, and I am re-correcting that motherfucker. Excuse my language. I'm from a really rough town in Bridgend. The fact that I've only swore like once in this video is like proof of everything I'm saying. You feel me? It doesn't even matter what you do. If you're devoted to the truth, you are naturally going to be not overly critical, but so loving and honest with yourself that everything you do is going to have a pure intention. That means everything you're doing is going to be so aligned with love and truth that you basically can't make mistakes at that point. The minute you do make a mistake, what you learn just from that one mistake is infinitely more impactful than anything you would learn in any other intention. Just being in the intention doesn't mean you don't make mistakes. There are mistakes. Imagine you had like an orange and you had a knife. Not devoted to the truth is like having a toothpick and trying to juice a lemon with the toothpick. That's the amount of like learning you get from it. When you're absolutely devoted to the truth, it's like getting some kind of actual lemon. I'm trying to think of something better than a lemon squeezer, but I guess that would be the best because it's designed to do it. It's like getting a lemon squeezer and just wringing all the juice out of that mistake. It's just like, oh my God, it is actually fun to make mistakes because you learn so much from it. And because you're so devoted to the truth, you're basically like a little puppy dog who's like, throw me a ball, throw me a mistake, throw me a truth, throw me a lesson. You just want to learn so much because it's just, you just love it. You just love it. You don't even know why you love it. You don't need to know why you love it. You just love it. You see? So none of this, there's no one there, there's no one home, life is a spontaneous, I'm an empty vessel of, no. We want to activate our individuality. I'm an activated individual. The difference is I just don't think I'm fundamentally an individual. And that's what allows me the freedom to have full access to individuality, full access to express my character. I have a mastermind group where I take people through the path of unconditional happiness every single week, giving as much support as I possibly can. We have currently 3 live calls every single week with the book club, and there's going to be a lot more to come as well. I can't vouch for this community enough. The people in it are absolutely incredible. You could just learn off them alone and not even have me be there, but I obviously recommend attending the calls that I'm in. I hope you have a beautiful day. I'll see you soon. Take care.